Hello, everybody. I am Jeff, and this is my wife, Christine. And together, we are Inspired Beyond. We are intuitive guides who support transformation through our coaching practice, which you can learn more about at inspiredbeyond.com. We are also your hosts for this Inspired Beyond podcast.
Our mission is to create space for conscious conversations with a diverse range of guests, exploring real life experiences, powerful healing modalities, and transformational ideas that support empowered living, collaboration, and community. Your engagement truly shapes this podcast as we evolve together. So be sure to subscribe, like the podcasts that resonate with you, and say hello in the comments. Every connection helps us spread more inspiration.
All right, let's dive in, everybody. Enjoy this next podcast. Our podcast today is about why understanding energy changes everything. So, the question that I have for everybody here, have you ever had an experience that made you realize there's more to reality than your five senses can perceive?
And I'm sure everybody has said yes to that.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, that's when you're tapping into the field of energy. And so today we wanted to talk about energy because it's so foundational to everything that we do. And even the interviews in our podcast, there's always a component of energy. And Jeff and I have been on an interesting journey of awakening to the world of energy ourselves in the past 10 years. And we wanted to share a little bit about that. One of the first experiences that we had was becoming a practitioner with Nest Health. It's now currently called Energy for Life, and it's a bioenergetic scanning system. It's really very powerful, but there's many modalities out there. But this is something that we've worked with. We've worked with friends and family, and I've been doing scanning for the last 7 years, and it's just blown me away how accurate it is, and it proves to me my scientific side of the truth that we do have a biofield around us, an energetic field, and it is impacted by our life experiences. And so, whenever you have a physical symptom, 9 times out of 10, it's probably has an energetic component. It could be something emotional, relational, it could be toxins in the environment and things like that as well. But so much of what we experience in our lives is the thoughts we think and the energy and the emotions that affect our body. And I'll give you an example. I was in a car accident in my 20s and I had an injury in my back neck and it was kind of sore at times, especially certain times, maybe in the winter or whatnot. And when I started doing these bioenergetic scans and doing the correction frequencies, the pain got a lot worse as it was healing and then it went away.
So why would the pain get worse, you ask, by doing this scan?
Yeah, it's well, the healing process, and it was actually something a physical trauma that I had, and the healing, sometimes when you heal, it actually hurts for a while as it's healing, and it just blew me away because I had the actual experience in my life of seeing it happen where it got worse and then it disappeared and it was gone. And that was just one of many, many experiences of seeing how when we correct the field, when things are off in the field, the blueprint of our body that we actually get healing in our physical body as well. And so the connection between the two, you have to understand that we are energetic beings. And so that's like the premise of everything that we do.
Right.
So, did you have any thoughts about
Yeah,
that?
there's one thing I wanted to add to that. So I've been trained in matrix re-imprinting and the emotional freedom technique. The interesting thing about both of those are you're tapping into an energy. Let's talk about matrix for a second. When you're tapping into the matrix, you're actually going back to and communicating with your inner child.
Mhm.
So let's say you had a memory as an inner child, as a child that was a not so good memory. We're able to go in and have that conversation with your inner child and change the perception of that memory in this current life. So it's amazing to see the transformation and how people respond when they have this different interaction
Mhm.
and how it changes things. Now with emotional freedom technique, and I'm sure most of you have heard of these both of these two techniques, you're tapping on meridians in the body, you're releasing energy, the blocks in your meridians that can heal the body. It's real. I've seen it work. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So energy is everything, you guys. And
Mhm.
that's why we're here in this podcast to explain a little bit and share with you what we do, how we deal with energy blocks, trapped emotions, etc.
Yeah, it's really it's it's the foundation, as I said before, of everything that we do when we focus on healing and becoming whole. So, for example, when Jeff was talking about EFT or matrix reimprinting, you would have, I almost call them like memory packs or energetic packs, things that were stuck. If you went through a traumatic situation, it's stuck in your field and you're carrying it around.
Mm.
And that energy is actually, it can draw in the same thing over and over again until you heal it. And so you think, oh, I'm just having bad luck. But no, it's something that needs to be broken down and released and replaced with something that's more healing. And our bodies have the ability to do that. But if we don't understand how energy works, or work with people who don't understand how energy works, it's really hard to get that true lasting healing that we're looking for. So this idea of energy, it's actually scientific, like we're talking about bioenergetics. I've seen the proof. I've done scans. I see. An example would be I scanned Jeff this morning just to see what does his scan look like. His body field alignment is off. And lo and behold, he just got back from a trip to Denver. So he's been flying. And so he needs to get grounded and his body field needs to be aligned. My scan showed up with some blocks around speaking and speaking my fear of speaking my truth. And I'm just being vulnerable and authentic. I knew we were going to do a podcast today and I was nervous about it. So, but it's beautiful to see the correlation, how everything is connected. And so that's the scientific side, but there's actually a spiritual side to understanding energy. You could think about the ancient traditions like Tai Chi and Qigong, working with energy. There's so much about Qi, life force, and they're not separate. This is connected, and you can see it from a spiritual aspect. Also, even in your spiritual walk, if you have any sort of spiritual practice at all, you can't see it with your five senses. So you have to learn to tap into energy. You have to learn to tap into your body to understand intuitively. Your body gives you messages. I'm sure some of you had this experience where you're talking to someone or you hear some message and you get chills in your body. And I know that happens to me when I know something is very true or very significant. And that's energy, that's communication. And when we start to understand and start operating and living our lives realizing that we're actually connected to all the energy around us, it
Mm.
changes everything. For example, Jeff and me getting together talking about energy today, talking with you. There's something energetically that's being transmitted to you based on our heart and based on what we're saying. And even though we can't hear from you, we energetically have a connection with you. And it's beautiful no matter what the time.
So let's talk about people. I've heard many stories about twins that are in different parts of the country. Something happens to one of the twins, the other one feels it right away. They're halfway across the
Yeah.
world. That is energy.
Absolutely. Or have you ever had a time or certain people in your life that you're very connected with and you think of them and then they call you?
Mm.
There it is.
Energy.
Energy. Energy. So we love to talk about energy and we will definitely be having some podcasts coming up with guests in the very near future actually talking about modalities related to energy. It can be healing, but it can also be just expressiveness and creativity.
Right.
Creativity comes from tapping into your energy and your own life force. So we're just really excited about this. And we also just want to reiterate that all of the sessions that we do coaching, one-to-one coaching, it revolves around this idea that the journey of healing and wholeness, it starts with energy. We have a vitality session. It's looking for areas that you have blocks in your life. And so many times when we've had sessions with people complaining about fatigue, we would tap into our own energy modalities and discover that the fatigue is coming from something that was very surprising to them, but then when we talked through it, they realized, "Oh, that makes sense." It could be related to a relationship that you're in. It could be related to some old beliefs that you're carrying around about something.
Mm.
There's so many things that it could be. And so we really love to help people kind of tap into getting back their own life force energy.
Exactly. Talk about your astrology piece.
Okay. Well, astrology is something that I've really gotten into recently because, well, not recently. It's been a passion of mine for a while, but I'm starting to use it in my sessions now. It's so powerful and it's an energetic blueprint of the time that you were born. And it doesn't predict anything in your life, it tells you about the energy of the wiring of your blueprint. And it's so incredibly insightful. And just like the bioenergetic scans proving to me in my own visual, like I can see this. I scientifically can prove that this is affecting this because I see these scans. I can be that researcher. It's the same with astrology because once you start to explore it and you realize, wow, that explains, or even just looking at the energy on the planet right now. Have you ever had days where you go through the day and you're like, it just feels off? Around me, it feels off. I mean, especially for you sensitive intuitives out there, you're like, something's up. And it could be energetically the entire human collective might be going through something. And then you can look at the where the stars are aligned and it could say, oh, that Mars square Pluto, there's some real energetic intensity happening today. And it's not meant to cause us trouble. It's meant to bring to the surface the dross, the stuff that we might be holding on to, or lessons that we're needing to learn. And it's going to be different for everybody. And especially if you look at your own blueprint, it's going to tell you how it's likely to affect you. But it has nothing to do with determining what your life is going to look like. It gives you choices because once you start to flow with the energy, you can realize, okay, the energy is a little tense right now. What am I meant to be working on? What's coming up to deal with? And so astrology is also really, really powerful in showing your soul blueprint, your destiny, what really lights you up and where you might be struggling. I could look at someone's chart and see they have a lot of water elements. They may be very, very emotional, but they don't have a lot of air, which means they're not very light. So they can have a lot of earth, which means they're very heavy, these kinds of things. But this is all energy. It's all energy. And so the astrology is really powerful, but then you take it to the next level, human design.
Mm. Well, before you go there, the only thing I know about astrology really is one day I said to myself, the stars must be aligned. And that's when I met this one.
Ah,
You people that love astrology, she's your gal for that.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a passion of mine. And my passion is to help you guys find your passion. And so much of the time looking through your chart can give you some very significant clues on where your journey is headed and where you're really going to thrive and have your passion. And also it helps you really align with not trying to be anyone else, being just your unique self. And we're all a unique snowflake. And yes, there's patterns, but really understanding how you're wired and why you're here. These are really important things for us to understand to live our best lives.
Mm.
And when we're out of alignment with what we're supposed to be doing, that's when the frustration shows up. That's when the anger shows up and depression and all these things. So much of the time, it's because we're just not in alignment with the way we're meant to work. And so human design is something that I'm getting certified in now, quantum human design, actually, which takes human design to the next level. And I'm very aligned with what this is about, but it's really working with your own energy. It's really about know thyself. I'm sure you guys have heard that. I don't know if it was Shakespeare that said that, but it is true. Learning to know thyself, not your old conditioning, not your patterns, but who you really are. And so much of it comes down to understanding energy and understanding how you're wired. And this is what we work with, and this is what we're passionate about.
Mhm. So, folks, we just encourage you to take a look and at what we have to offer and make your own decisions. So we are very flexible with our times, and this is what we are all about.
Mhm,
It's our heartbeat is to help others like yourselves and to reach out to humanity and help to have everyone deal with these current times we're living in,
mhm,
which I don't have to say are pretty crazy at this
mhm.
point. And I don't know what the future holds. All I know is that we can create that ourselves if we just tap into our own energy and we stay focused in that present moment. So we hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast. And do you have anything else that you want to add?
I do. I want to top it off with this idea of the healing journey is kind of like a three-course meal. If you want to start this journey and you're going to have this meal, you got to start with your vegetables. Your vegetables is clearing your traumas, dealing with the limiting beliefs that you have, the blind spots, and there's some hard stuff. But as you continue to go on and you have your real meal, you know what the dessert is? It's tapping into your own intuition. And and that is where you can really learn discernment because there's so much noise going on out there. And I don't know about you guys, but I will hear people talking about a topic and they'll say, it's this, it's this, it's this. Could be all of it, could be none of it. What do I know is true? What do I know is true for me on my path? And the dessert is being able to tap into your intuition, which gives you so much peace because you can be in this place where you can just be at peace. You can also be at peace without knowing because you have this center inside of you and your connection to spirit, whatever your spiritual practice is, that you know everything's going to be okay. Whatever happens, it's going to be okay. And Jeff was saying, create your reality. Yes, sometimes we don't know what that's supposed to be and we have to surrender. And knowing those times when your intuition is telling you go for it, sometimes your intuition is telling you hold back. And how do you know? And so no one else can tell you what to do. And if you keep relying on someone else, whether it's any kind of organization whatsoever, you're going to learn some hard lessons. So even though you got to eat your vegetables, do your clearing your blocks, the joy is when you get to that place where you just are truly at peace and you can trust your intuition and life gets really exciting and it actually gets magical.
And one thing, surrendering is not a weakness.
Mhm.
To the guys and the gals out there, it is not a weakness. It's surrender. It's admitting, I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. Please help me. And that's the beginning of the way things will be. And it's just realize that surrendering is not a weakness.
Yeah, it can be scary. And sometimes life takes us through circumstances that really knock us off our rocker. And it can be very confusing. But if you're in that learning to get into that place of trust and surrender, um, it just things flow so much better. And it's all energy.
That's right. Okay, folks.
We also want to just wrap it up and say that if you are interested in connecting with us, we do have a discovery session where you can ask some questions. We actually offer it free on our website for new clients. It's called the discovery session, so you can just jump on with both Jeff and I and ask your questions, and we can see where it might be a good fit to work with us or not. We'd love to meet with you one-on-one in person. And thank you so much for listening. So we hope to see you next week. We've got a great podcast guest.
Right.
Thanks so much, guys.
Stay tuned. Bye bye.